Imagine waking up tomorrow and your brain is already playing for the team you want to become. Focused, calm under pressure, relentlessly consistent, same life, same circumstances. But your automatic thoughts, your default reactions, your inner voice are all upgraded. That's the power of convincing your mind to think differently. And most people never learn how to do it on purpose. They try to change their life with willpower alone, fighting the same mental patterns that keep pulling them back. In this video, we're going to flip that. I'll show you how to train your mind to think in a way that makes progress natural instead of exhausting. By the end, you'll have a mental blueprint you can plug into any goal: fitness, finances, career, relationships, and actually follow through. This isn't hype, it's psychology and practice you can use starting today. In a moment, we're going to break down a step-by-step process to reshape how your mind thinks about goals, effort, and discomfort. Because those three things quietly decide almost everything you achieve. We'll cover identity, how to talk to yourself, the right way to visualize, and the brutal truth about motivation that most people don't want to hear. This isn't about magical thinking or repeating affirmations in the mirror until life changes. It's about understanding how your brain actually works, then using that knowledge like a lever. If you're serious about upgrading your thinking, make sure you watch this video until the very end, because the last two segments will tie everything together into a simple daily routine. And if you find value in content like this, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss future deep dives on mindset and performance. To convince your mind to think differently, you have to start with identity. Your brain is obsessed with being consistent with who it believes you are. If deep down you see yourself as the kind of person who always quits or the one who never sticks to habits, your mind will sabotage anything that conflicts with that story. So the first shift is this. Goals are not just about what you want to achieve. They're about who you're becoming. Instead of saying, I want to run a marathon, you start saying, I'm becoming a disciplined runner. You don't just ask, what do I want? You ask, who would easily do the things I'm struggling with? Then you start acting like that person in tiny, undeniable ways. Identity change is built through evidence, not hope. So we'll focus on stacking small wins that prove to your brain, this is who I am now. Most people try to change their mind with pure positivity. I can do it, it'll all work out. But your brain is not stupid. It loves realism. That's why a powerful thinking tool is mental contrast. Here's how it works. First, you vividly imagine the outcome you want. The energy, the freedom, the pride of achieving it. Then, instead of staying in fantasy, you deliberately picture the obstacles that will show up. Your laziness after work, your fear of looking stupid, your friends not understanding your choices. This contrast, desired future versus current reality, creates productive tension in your mind. Your brain starts asking, okay, what's the plan to cross that gap? Studies show people who use mental contrast are more persistent and realistic. You're not hypnotizing yourself. You're briefing your brain like a strategist before a mission. Hope plus obstacles plus a plan. That's how you make your mind respect your goals. Your default thoughts are shaped by something psychologists call your explanatory style, the way you explain events to yourself. When something goes wrong, do you think, this always happens to me, I'm just not good enough, or this is specific, temporary, and fixable? That difference quietly shapes your entire life. To convince your mind to think like an achiever, you have to become ruthless about catching automatic, limiting explanations and rewriting them, not with fake positivity, but with accurate, constructive thinking. For example, I failed this exam because I'm stupid becomes I failed this exam because I underestimated how much focused practice I needed. That's controllable. Same event, different story, radically different future. Start treating every setback as data, not a verdict. Ask, what's the skill gap? What would someone who's world class at this do next? Slowly your brain learns to default to solutions instead of self-attack. Another shift. Stop worshiping motivation. High achievers don't rely on feeling like it, they rely on design. Your brain is lazy by default. It wants comfort, predictability, the path of least resistance. Instead of fighting that, use it. Make the right actions easier and the wrong ones harder. That means pre-committing. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Delete apps you mindlessly scroll. Tell a friend you'll send proof when you complete a task. You're not trying to be a superhero. You're trying to be a human with fewer traps around. Think of yourself as a designer of your future self's environment. When your mind sees that the lowest friction option is also the one aligned with your goals, resistance drops. This is how you convince your brain that change is not constant battle. It's simply following the path that you've carefully engineered to be the easiest. Your brain learns fastest through repetition and emotional intensity. Most people use this accidentally. They repeat worries and replay failures with strong emotion, wiring in anxiety and hesitation. You're going to flip that script. Choose a few core thoughts that support your new identity, like, I do hard things even when they're uncomfortable, or I keep promises to myself. Then, instead of mumbling them once in a while, you attach them to specific actions. Right before a workout, a difficult call, or focused work block, you repeat your phrase with full attention and a tiny physical cue, like pressing your thumb and finger together. Over time, your brain associates that cue with courage and follow through. This isn't magic, it's conditioning. Just like a song can trigger old memories, your new mental phrases combined with consistent action will start triggering the state you need to perform. One of the most powerful ways to convince your mind to think differently is to shrink the size of success until it's impossible to reject. Your brain believes what you prove, not what you promise. So, when you set giant, unrealistic daily targets, you're training your mind to expect failure. Instead, design what I call stupidly small wins: 5 minutes of reading, one paragraph of writing, 10 bodyweight squats. On their own, they look almost meaningless, but psychologically, they're huge. Each small win sends a quiet signal: I did what I said I'd do. That builds self-trust, and self-trust is the foundation of every achievement mindset. Once the behavior is automatic at a tiny level, you can scale it, but you never break the chain of being the person who shows up. Your mind starts to see you as reliable, and that identity will carry you through much bigger challenges. Your relationship with discomfort is the difference between dreaming and doing. Most people's minds treat discomfort as danger. This feels awkward, painful, tiring. Abort mission. High achievers train their brains to interpret that same signal as progress. The thought becomes, this is the price of growth. I expected this. To rewire this, start naming discomfort when it shows up. This is anxiety. This is boredom. This is fear of judgment. Then, instead of escaping, stay with it for just a little longer than usual. 30 extra seconds in a cold shower, 5 extra minutes of focus, one more rep. As you survive discomfort repeatedly without catastrophe, your brain updates its predictive model. We can feel this and be okay. Over time, challenges that once felt unbearable become normal, even satisfying, because your mind links them with pride and progress instead of threat. We also need to fix how you visualize. Many people imagine the end result: money in the bank, the dream body, the applause, but skip visualizing the grind. That leaves your mind unprepared for reality. Effective visualization has two parts: outcome and process. First, you see the future you're aiming for in vivid sensory detail. Then, just as vividly, you watch yourself going through the boring, unglamorous steps. Waking up early, saying no to distractions, pushing through the messy middle where nothing seems to work. You imagine obstacles appearing and your future self handling them calmly. This teaches your brain, struggle is not a sign to quit, it's part of the script. When reality matches your mental rehearsal, your mind feels less threatened and more in control. It's like preloading your nervous system with a map, instead of throwing it blind into chaos and hoping it doesn't panic. Your mind is heavily shaped by what and who it's exposed to daily, even when you're not paying attention. If you constantly scroll negativity, drama, and people who normalize giving up, your brain quietly absorbs that as how life works. To convince your mind to think like an achiever, curate your inputs. That doesn't mean pretending problems don't exist. It means deliberately surrounding yourself, online and offline, with examples of discipline, resilience, and possibility. Follow people who share their process, not just their highlight reel. Read biographies of individuals who started where you are and built something meaningful. Join communities where effort is respected more than talent. Over time, your brain updates its sense of what's normal. Achieving hard things stops feeling like a fantasy for special people and starts feeling like a reasonable outcome for those who stay in the game long enough. Here's a subtle but crucial shift. Move from results thinking to systems thinking. Your mind loves clear wins, lose 10 kilos, earn X amount, hit Y subscribers. But results are lagging indicators. They show up long after the work. If your focus lives only there, your brain will constantly judge you as failing because the scoreboard hasn't changed yet. Systems thinking means your primary measure of success becomes, did I run the play today? The play might be 30 minutes of deep work, 20 sales calls, one healthy meal, 10 pages read. When your mind sees you winning daily at the system, it relaxes and supports consistency instead of nagging for instant proof. Ironically, that's what creates the big results you wanted in the first place. You're convincing your brain to fall in love with the process, so achievement becomes the side effect, not the obsession. To lock all of this in, you need a simple daily mind training routine. Think of it as brushing your brain. Here's a structure you can adapt. Morning, 2 minutes reviewing your identity statements and top 3 behaviors that prove them. 1 minute of mental contrast. Picture your desired future, then today's main obstacle and how you'll handle it. During the day, pick one discomfort moment and deliberately stay in it a bit longer while repeating your chosen phrase. Evening, 5 minutes reflecting. Where did my old story show up? Where did my new identity show up? What tiny win did I create? Capture this in a journal, not in your head. Written evidence is gold for your brain. This routine is short on purpose. You're showing your mind day after day. This is how we think now. Repetition plus awareness equals rewiring. Let's tie everything together into a clear mental model. To convince your mind to help you achieve anything, you first shift identity. Stop asking only, what do I want? And start asking, who am I becoming? Then you use mental contrast. Dream plus obstacles plus plan. So your brain takes your goals seriously. You upgrade your self-talk by changing explanations from permanent and personal to specific and fixable. You stop worshiping motivation and instead design your environment so the right actions are easier. You shrink success into stupidly small daily wins that build self-trust. You redefine discomfort as evidence of growth, not danger. You visualize both the outcome and the grind. Curate your inputs so achievement feels normal, and switch from results thinking to systems thinking. Finally, you anchor all of this with a short daily routine that reinforces your new identity. None of this is theory. It's a toolbox you can start using tonight. Now it's your turn to actually run the experiment. Don't try to overhaul everything at once. Pick one area of your life where you're tired of your current results. Define the identity you want there. I'm becoming someone who, and choose one stupidly small daily action that proves it. Write down your phrase, your action, and your biggest expected obstacle for tomorrow. Tonight, set up your environment so that action is the easiest option. Then, over the next 7 days, stick to that tiny promise like it's sacred. Watch how your self-respect shifts. If you want more content that goes beyond motivation and into the real mechanics of change, consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you don't miss future videos. Drop a comment sharing the identity you're choosing and the small action you'll start with. You might inspire someone else. And if this helped, share it with one person who needs to hear it today.